the nuke I was about to drop was, all right, if Alex Jones was banned for the last, year because he denied an atrocity, and the stated policies of X and community guidelines of X is that if you deny atrocities, you will be banned, then why are you not banning Israel's official account? Why are you not banning all the Zionists who are denying atrocities in Gaza each and every day? Why are you not banning the people who are really championing and in some cases denying the bombing of hospitals, civilians, schools, churches, mosques, UN facilities, you name it? Okay? Why are you not banning them? And furthermore, why are you not banning the people that are making up atrocities? 40 beheaded babies, raped, whatever they want to say. It's like, so it's not that I want Israel to get banned. I'm a free speech absolutist. I want everyone on the platform because I think it's better to debate these ideas, right? We've seen that. We've seen that it's amazing to allow these people on these platforms because you can directly challenge their ideas. You can ratio them with 60,000, 100,000 likes, and now the whole world sees their lies as well. If they weren't on the platform, then no one would see their lies being exposed. So I actually support all these groups being on X. But my question is, why do you have unfair treatment for Israel and the Zionists versus Alex Jones over the past year when he was banned for denying an atrocity, according to you? But you'll see, I didn't even get to ask that because, again, before I could drop the nuke and ask Elon why he gives preferential treatment to Zionists on the platform, I was removed from the space again. Take a listen.
Well, I have one quick question.
Right, Jack.
So I guess the premise as to why Alex was banned for so long was that, he supposedly lied about an atrocity, and that goes against X community guidelines.
That's not quite correct. The at least obviously this was before I acquired the company, but the actual reason for suspending him was he basically insulted a journalist.
Was it?
So Elon comes in and he interrupts me. He's like, well, technically, I wasn't the one who banned him, and technically it wasn't about denial of atrocity because technically it was about, Oliver Darcy and how Alex Jones was allegedly harassing Oliver Darcy. It's like, but, okay, so they banned him because of that. But what I'm saying is you kept Alex Jones banned, as you put it, right when you bought X, you kept him banned because you said that anyone who denies an atrocity where children are killed should not be on this platform. Okay, that's what you said. You posted that on X. You posted that on Twitter. So why is he banned for denying an atrocity where children are killed, but the Zionists are not banned for denying an atrocity where children are killed? Why is there preferential treatment? I think he understood the question that I was about to ask, but again, I didn't get to ask it because I was removed from the space.
Wasn't your purpose for keeping him?
Well, he
still
believes
banned?
that because the media had said that. Now he's learned that, right?
I'm just going off of what.
I just looked at the logs for reason for suspension. That was basically a third strike violation. The third strike violation was insulting a journalist. This was not my decision. This is literally the Twitter logs of the old people that used to run Twitter. This is what they wrote.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, under your leadership, though, the suspension was kept in place. I remember you tweeted out because you're not going to bring someone back who lied about, the death of innocent children.
Yes.
So if that's the case, then.
And then he says, yeah, like, okay, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Why are you being technically, no, that's what you did.
And we're going to uphold things fairly and firmly for all X users. Can we expect that, like, if Alex or anyone else on this panel lied about Sandy Hook or an atrocity again, that they would also be banned again?
You already answered that.
Yeah, I've already answered that.
He did. Yeah.
So So if that is the case,
platform will adhere to the law, and we will adhere to the law. That is what this platform will do. So if somebody says does something illegal, then they will be suspended. If they do not do something illegal, then we will try our best to avoid any kind of permanent bans unless someone does something fundamentally illegal.
Elon.
So then right there, right before Alex Jones started talking again, I was removed from the space again. So I was going to ask the question. It was like a few seconds before as well. Elon was answering the question. Elon's answering the question. I obviously had a follow-up because I was about to ask something. You could hear it. And then they removed me again because I was about to ask, okay, if that is the case, why are we not treating the Zionists the same way when they deny atrocities against innocent children in Gaza? So at that point, I knew. I was like, okay, so I've been now removed once, removed twice when I'm trying to ask a question to Elon directly about this whole situation. I'm just trying to figure it out, right? And I got removed again. Now, I got removed that time, and I also was not immediately brought back into the conversation. And I was talking behind the scenes because they have this whole infrastructure of these X spaces that Mario holds. They have producers for the show. So I messaged the producer for the show and I said, why was I removed again? I wasn't done asking my question to Elon about why he treats the Zionists in a more preferential manner than Alex Jones over the past year. Because technically, if they both deny atrocities, they should both be banned. Okay? Zionists are calling for atrocities on X. Zionists are literally calling for Gaza to be flattened, to not leave a single school or hospital. So I'm in the middle of asking my question. I get removed. So I asked them, I say, why was I removed? And the producer for the show sent me this text and said this. I said, I got removed again. Can I get added back? They said, can you confirm that you won't be asking about other banned accounts when you get back? So they admit to deliberately removing me from this space with Elon Musk about such a critical issue, an issue that could literally save lives, countless lives, because I was going to ask the question, why then is it that you don't ban these Zionists? Or why then is it that you only ban pro-Palestinian voices but not the Zionists? So they admitted to deliberately removing me when I'm asking Elon this question. Now, fast forward again. Let's see how long this took. Fast forward again. It took me another 40 minutes to get back on the stream. And you'll see here, I'm in the middle of asking my third and final question. Okay? And watch what happens. So, the moment Elon Musk joins, I get removed. Then, 40 minutes later, the moment that I ask Elon Musk a question about why there's preferential treatment for Zionists, I'm about to ask the question, I get removed again. Now, the third time I'm allowed back on, another 40 minutes later, after they admitted to deliberately removing me because they said that I was about to ask about why Palestinian accounts are being negatively targeted and removed from the X platform, I asked my final question. Okay? I asked my final question, and as you'll see here, not only does Elon Musk dodge my question about Gaza, but I am removed yet again. Take a look.
You tweeted about the imprisonment of the American Chilean Gonzalo Lira in Kharkiv, Ukraine yesterday. I'm curious if that imprisonment of an American for speaking his mind on YouTube and X has caused you to consider further support for Ukraine, albeit through Starlink or other means. And also, unrelated to that, can you provide any updates about Starlink for Gaza?
Yeah, I mean, I generally think, look, I understand that if an American citizen is in another country and violates that country's laws or what those countries' laws, even if their actions would not violate the laws in the United States, that person would then be put in prison. But in the case of Ukraine, the United States is providing a vast amount of aid to Ukraine, and the United States government has an obligation to protect its citizens. And so I think even if one disagrees with what that I guess YouTuber or journalist, depending on your perspective, what they posted, I feel uncomfortable sending massive aid to Ukraine if they're putting American citizens in jail for doing videos on YouTube. That's not cool. And it's like, and you could say like, okay, well, yeah, but Ukraine has the sovereignty in their country. It's like, yeah, but they don't have a right to our money as well. So it's like they don't have a right to our money and support and to imprison and mistreat American citizens.
Well, that's right.
So then Alex Jones jumps in. Elon Musk didn't answer the question about Gaza. Okay, but I do ask it one more time and I get an answer, but I'm removed for asking it one more time. But just to address that point, so the question was about why are you providing direct support via Starlink to the people or to the military of Ukraine when they're literally committing war crimes left and right? They are waging this proxy war at the behest of the United States, and we all know what's happening. We all know why it's going on. And then on top of that, they're now imprisoning a friend of mine, Gonzalo Lira, an internet friend of mine, Gonzalo Lira, and they're torturing him, they're beating him, they're imprisoning him because allegedly they think he said things that went against the war effort in Ukraine while he was in Ukraine. Okay? They didn't let him leave. He spoke his mind, and then he was imprisoned, and he hasn't even been charged yet officially, okay, for any criminal acts. But all he was doing was posting YouTube videos. I was doing the YouTube videos with him, okay? So then, because Elon Musk so clearly dodged the Gaza question, I asked one more time the same question. I said, okay, but what about Starlink for Gaza? Can you give us an update on that? You just went to Israel. You told us that Netanyahu was okay with the idea of Starlink being provided to Gaza. So do you have any updates about that? And as you'll see in this clip, I'm actually removed as a speaker for the third time for asking a question about Gaza, okay? Apparently, free speech, yes, we're going to celebrate it. We're going to have this Twitter space celebrating free speech. But if you ask Elon Musk a question about Gaza, you will be removed. Watch my little profile up here, my X profile, get removed as soon as I ask the question about Gaza.
And as for Starlink for Gaza,
Yeah, and on the Starlink for Gaza front, I mean, obviously that place is currently a war front next level. So
And there it goes. Removed for asking Elon Musk a question about Gaza. 3 times in one space. I'm trying to talk about the most critical issues imaginable. Use the few seconds I have to do my part in hopefully stopping this war, saving some lives, encouraging Elon Musk to do something positive here. And for that, I was removed from the space for a third time after they admitted to deliberately removing me once already. But let's hear his response. He says, well, Gaza, it's a war zone. Here we go.
So in order for Starlink to be used in Gaza, terminals have to be brought in, and they have to be, used in a way that where it is, there's a high degree of certainty that they are not being used for any violence. So now there are only really 2 ways to get into Gaza. One is through Egypt, and the other is through Israel. So if there was like a situation where, say, Egypt was willing to let a Starlink terminal in, and that we could have very high certainty that the terminal would not be used for any kind of military purposes or for violence, then we would support that. Egypt has not stepped forward, to the best of my knowledge, in that regard, and obviously we're not going to be played for fools here, where if an organization would perhaps pretend to be using Starlink for peaceful purposes, but then actually use it for violent purposes, we will basically ask for a webcam on that thing 24/7, and if there's the slightest concern about it being used for violent means, it would be turned off. So that's the situation there. I mean, it is a very difficult situation, and I am sympathetic to Israel, but I also I'm sympathetic to civilians in Gaza. So
But
it's not.
but
I'm
Elon,
I'm pro-human, to be clear. And
100%.
so uh,
Elon,
So that was his answer. He said, yeah, I'm pro-human, pro-civilian Gaza, sympathetic to Israel. Bro, just answer the question. Starlink for Gaza. Save civilians. It's simple. Again, I don't know why I was removed for asking that question, but frankly, I don't care. I got the question out. I would have liked to ask him some other questions. Why is it that you went to Israel but not Gaza? Why is it that you talk about how there's, you say that the killing of civilians is bad while you're meeting with Israeli officials, the Israeli president and prime minister, but they're the ones who are killing an extremely disproportionate amount of civilians, of children in Gaza. But I knew that, I'm going to try to ask the questions that are going to result in me being able to stay on the space for as long as possible and ask as many questions as possible. I personally didn't think that asking about Starlink for Gaza or why there's preferential treatment for Zionists on the platform would result in me getting banned immediately, but it did. So he answered the question, and let's just break down, as one last point here, the answer to his question. He said, okay, well, the only ways to get into Gaza are through Israel and through Egypt in terms of getting aid into the people of Gaza. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why don't you just do it? Because countries from all across the world are sending major shipments of aid into the people of Gaza in huge craters, huge shipping containers. And you know what happens? The Israeli soldiers go through each and every one of those containers before they let it go into Gaza. So it doesn't seem like it would be all that difficult to make this happen. Then he says, well, we don't want to allow these Starlink modules to be used for military purposes. We only want them to be used for civilian purposes. Let me just tell you, the civilians need them. The civilians need them very badly, okay? Every other day, they're getting their internet, electricity, water shut off by the Zionists, okay? They need those Starlink platforms very badly. He says, well, we need to have some sort of a mechanism to be able to recognize that these aren't being used for military purposes. Okay, the Egyptian government doesn't need to do that. The Israeli government doesn't need to do that. Netanyahu, per your own statement, Elon, said that he had agreed to allowing Starlink for Gaza. But, I don't understand what the holdup is. When it came to the Ukrainian military using Starlink, they had full disclosure, open use of Starlink for military purposes up until the moment in which Ukraine wanted to attack a Russian fleet of naval ships in Sevastopol. Okay, up until that moment, Elon Musk said, free use Starlink however much you want, I'll even pay for it. But the moment that they said they wanted to use it, that they indicated they wanted to use it to attack a Russian fleet in Sevastopol, which is not on the military front, Elon Musk pulled the plug and said, no, we're not going to provide you Starlink access for those operations. So if they can do that for Ukraine, why is it so difficult for Elon Musk and the Starlink team to be able to monitor whether or not these Starlink modules are being utilized for civilian or military purposes? If anything, I think it would be easier for them to be able to determine whether or not these are being used for civilian or military purposes than the hoops that they had to jump through regarding monitoring the infrastructure of Starlink for the Ukrainian military, making sure they don't attack certain targets like Sevastopol. I think it'd be easier in Gaza. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a specialist in Starlink, so I don't know. I didn't get to ask a follow-up question, so I guess we'll never know. I was removed from the space, but to me, it seems like it's very doable, and it seems like Elon is dragging his feet because of how much bad press he's getting on a whole host of subjects, albeit bad press that I think is unwarranted, because he's upholding free speech to the best visibility. But I just found this whole thing insane. If you ask Elon Musk a question about Gaza or preferential treatment for Zionists or negative treatment against pro-Palestinian accounts on X, on an X space that is supposed to be celebrating free speech, you will end up like me, removed from the space 3 different times. And they admitted, as you saw, that they did this deliberately. So first, conversation with Elon Musk, can't say it went that well. Hopefully in the future, I have more opportunities. I'm sure I will. But I tried my best, and I hope that I hope that you guys think that I did the best that I could. Open to feedback, I was even in the infrared Discord asking people, what do you think I should ask Elon? What do you think I should ask him? So, I'm always open to input, and I want my X and my Twitter to be a community and lots of voices that are chiming in to try and get the message out there about these counter hegemonic forces in this new multipolar world that we're seeing to the best of my ability. So always open to criticism and advice. But crazy day. Talked to Elon Musk, got removed for talking to Elon Musk about Gaza. We'll see what the future holds. The Barrick News, thank you for the Rumble Rant. The Zionist Eli David is in the top 50 accounts on X, and he was the first to start encouraging the kidnapping of UN members. Utterly insane. Yeah, he's also a guy who